What's up, everyone? In this video, we're just going to be color grading some Lumix S5ii V-Log footage. So everything is shot in V-Log, and I have a couple different options here. I've got some nighttime footage, a little bit more of an urban setting, and then actually some 6K open gate footage that we're going to be color grading. And this is going to be a very quick tutorial on how I color grade some of this footage, and I know that I am in Premiere Pro. Please don't give me a hard time for being in Premiere Pro. I know a change is inevitable in my editing process, but right now I'm in Adobe Premiere Pro. Is it the best for color grading? No, it's not. Resolve probably is, and I'll probably hear about that in the comments, but it's totally fine. You know, it's okay. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm just going to be showing you my workflow and how I go about color grading some of this V-Log footage. And I've been shooting V-Log on the S5ii and the GH6. I've been shooting V-Log a lot because V-Log is so good on these cameras. On the GH5, I never really shot V-Log L. I didn't like it. I shot natural pretty much all the time. But on these newer cameras and these newer processors and the full V-Log profile, not a light version, the full V-Log profile, it's actually a lot of fun to use. And so this very first clip you see right here, it's nighttime, and you know, thanks to Lumix, we got to go to Tokyo and go to the announcement of the S5ii, which I'm using as this webcam right here, the S5ii with the autofocus. Let me know if it's pulsing in the background. I have some lights back there just to test it out in this type of setting. Let me know if it's pulsing. But we got to test out the S5ii in Tokyo, and this is one of the shots. You know, it's kind of lit up really well, got some good color in it. And so what I'm going to do is actually just click right here on the clip, and I'm going to actually convert this V-Log footage to a Rec 709, and I'm going to use the Panasonic Rec 709 to get that V-Log footage converted to where now I can kind of color correct and then color grade. I'm going to add a little bit of depth to this image just by creating a curve. And so as I create this curve, you see that now it darkens up some of these parts, adds a little bit more contrast in those darker regions there. And I don't know if I want to bring up the lighter part too much, just because it is starting to get in these areas just a little bright anyway. So I'm going to go back to the basic correction, and I'm actually going to bring down my highlights just a little bit, just so I can kind of recover some of this. And now with V-Log, you have a bunch of, you have great dynamic range, so you should be able to recover a lot of those highlights. This isn't the best image necessarily for the dynamic range comparison. Maybe this urban one might be a little better. But let's just bring those highlights down just a little bit more. So now we have some pretty good contrast, and you can already see the difference between the two images. I mean, this is the V-Log image right here, and then we have, this is just converted to a Rec 709. We haven't even like added a LUT, a color LUT, or anything like that yet. So it's actually looking pretty good. I'm going to bring up the contrast just a little bit more, just in this, especially with this tree and, you know, kind of in this background right here, just adding just a little bit more contrast to that. Really add some depth to that shot. So when I go and, you know, adjust the slider image here, I'm going to kind of go for a little bit more of a cinematic look with this. And so I'm not too worried about some of those blacks getting crushed. Now, if I bring up the lumetri scopes here, you can see that I'm still within a pretty good range of where I need to be with this image. I mean, things aren't, you know, totally crushed in the black regions yet. And my highlights are looking pretty good as well. And that'd be some of these little parts right in here, some of these lights and everything. So right now, I'm pretty happy with that. And you can kind of see the difference already just by a little bit of correction and getting that footage to a Rec 709. Now we're going to color grade it, and to do that I'm actually going to add an adjustment layer here, and I'm in a 4K timeline, And I don't know if you can see it, but it's kind of behind my little talking head box there. But I'm just going to bring this adjustment layer up, and I'm actually going to do the grading on this adjustment layer. That way, if I had other clips here, I'd be able to, take this adjustment layer and kind of add this along to these other clips. So I'm going to go to the Creative tab here in Premiere Pro, and I'm going to go and I'm going to bring up a look. Now, here, this pack, Deep Shadows, Gold, Purple Sky, YouTube Punch, you can download these ones for free. The link is in my description. Go download those for free. I'm actually going to use one of these other packs that I have from my LUT store, and I'm going to actually use the Simple Grade 1, and this one's available at my LUT store if you want to go check that out. And here, let me tell you this. Right now, if you go and, use the link I have in the description, use the code YouTube25, and you'll get 25% off anything in that LUT store. There's a couple different options there if you like what you're seeing. So we've got this pack's free, Deep Shadows, Gold, Purple Sky, YouTube Punch. Then I've got Cinematic Fade on my store. I've got Classic Summer, Coffee Break, some vintage looks. So go check out that store. It's in the link. Use the code. For this one, for this particular shot, I'm going to use the Simple Grade. Now, here's the thing. It kind of looks a little muddy right now. The intensity is very strong, so I'm going to back off the intensity a little bit. I'm going to go about maybe 50 just to, I have a lot of contrast in here right now, so it's looking a little muddy. And some of these LUTs that I have, they actually will kind of fade the blacks a little bit. So you kind of want to watch that. Keep track of where you're at. You don't necessarily want to just slap a LUT on and then just call it good. You might need to go back here and make some adjustments to your image. So actually, I'm going to back this contrast off a little bit because once I applied that LUT, it just got too muddy for me. So maybe those shadows I can even bring up a little bit and kind of getting that look now that I want. I'm going to go back to the Creative tab, and I'm just going to, on this adjustment layer, I'm just going to start bringing this back up just a little bit. Now that I've kind of backed off the contrast and everything on the actual clip, let's just start bringing this back up and start trying to get a little bit more of that cinematic look. So there, I'm going to leave it there, and I'm actually going to warm up this clip just a little bit with the temperature. So let's see what that does. So it really kind of brings out that pink a little bit more, kind of emphasizes the center of that shot. So with this, you know what? I'm happy with this. It might still be just a little bit muddy. I might need to go in there and clean it up just a little bit, but for the sake of this video, I am going to leave it right there. Let's go to this urban shot now, and this one has a little bit more of a there's a little bit more, shadowy area in here, but then you have the sky, which hopefully we can bring some of that sky out. So again, I'm going to go to the basic correction, and I'm just going to convert this V-Log footage. Actually, let me bring this up in the source monitor right there. Okay, so there we got that. Now I'm going to go back here, click on this, and I'm going to go to convert this to the Rec 709 from V-Log, and you can already tell that you have a little bit more of this sky showing up and a little bit more contrast. Now this must have been shot on a really wide lens. You can see the buildings kind of folding in there a little bit. But let's go back to this curve again, and I'm just going to create a couple points here and just bring down those shadows a little bit and see where my scopes are. Hold on, let's see. Get my scopes to where they need to go. There we go. Lagging a little bit because I have a lot going on my computer right now, actually doing this recording and everything. So I've got a lot going on. It's just lagging just a little bit, but from where I'm at, things are looking pretty good. It looks pretty well balanced for the most part, at least for the sake of this video. I am going to bring those highlights down just a little bit to emphasize a little bit more of this sky. And oh no, it's glitching. Here we go. I'm going to bring those shadows down just because I'm all right with this being pretty dark. There's not a whole lot going on in that little area anyway, so I'm all right in this shot. And this is Tokyo Station right here, one of the biggest oh, there we go, a save. One of the biggest train stations in Tokyo, and you can kind of see it down in there. But what I'm going to do now is bring up my adjustment layer again, and I'm going to put it right on top of that clip, and this is where I'm going to add a creative LUT to. And actually, I'm going to use my free YouTube punch, which I use in a lot of my videos. And now this really like cooled down this image. It's pretty blue. So I'm going to go back to the clip, back to basic correction. I'm going to warm this up, and you'll start to see the colors really pop. So, and this kind of has, you know, you kind of have some fall colors in here. So it's all right to warm it up just a little bit to kind of emphasize those fall colors in there. And again, I'm just going to bring the highlights down just a little bit so you can see a little bit more of that sky. So there, I mean, this is a pretty contrasty shot. You got a bright sky, you got some shadows in this area. So for this clip and for the sake of this video, I'm happy with that look. I like that look because I like being able to see a little bit of these clouds in here. Let's go to the 6K shot. Now this is an open gate, and this probably is really going to glitch out my computer here now that I'm, you know, doing the screen recording and everything going on. But this one, we just went for a winter walk, and I actually have this video on my channel, the full complete video of how I color graded it and everything. But I just thought it's kind of nice. You have the sunset up in this area, you know, and then you have some real contrasty parts in here. So again, I'm going to convert this to a Rec 709. And if you use any of my LUTs from my store or the free YouTube Punch LUT and you use it on V-Log, you always want to convert it. There is a convert LUT in each one of those folders that you download, but you can also, which is probably recommended, use the Panasonic convert LUT from V-Log to Rec 709. So this one, I've got the convert LUT on there, and you know, it added some good contrast and everything and brought those colors out a lot more than what you would see in, let's go to the source. There you go. The source in this V-Log image. Now, one of the things that I wanted to bring up with this particular clip is that I did have a Black Pro Mist filter on there at a quarter. So some of these, you know, colors and everything, they're going to be muted a little bit anyway, just because I have that diffusion filter on there. So it's all right to have a little bit of fade in your blacks and that type, especially on this shot here. But I want to emphasize more of the sky on this shot. So I'm going to kind of bring down my blacks there. And like I said, I'm kind of glitching out here. And I think I'm going to actually leave the highlighted area just in that section right there. And I'm actually going to bring down my highlights just a little bit because I really want to emphasize this sky. So I'm going to contrast it up just a little bit. And maybe even just, since it's a sunrise, I might just warm it up a little bit there too. So I'm going to take my adjustment layer again. I'm going to toss that right on top, and I'm going to add a creative look. And again, we're probably going to have to go in and adjust maybe some of the settings that we just did once we get this on here. But I think I'm going to go with, let's go with the classic or saturated summer. Let's see which one looks good on here. Oh, I forgot this is a 6K. This is a 6K timeline. Let's just make that. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to back this adjustment layer out. There's different ways that I can do this, but I'm actually going to create a new adjustment layer. That way it's in that 6K look there. See, there you got the width and the height. So let's do that. And this is open gate. So it's, you know, I think it's a 3:2:4:3 somewhere in there aspect ratio. just a little bit different. Okay, now let's go and actually add this on. Let's go, what'd I do? Saturated summer. Let's see what that looks like. It's a little muddy, so I might just back it off a little bit, but I kind of like I like how it kind of makes this snowy area and the shadows a little bit bluer, but it like really emphasizes this sky in here. So it kind of gives it a little bit of a vintage look as well. That's kind of nice. So a little bit, you know, faded in these shadows here, and it's all right to crush these out. It's okay to do that, especially if you're going for a cinematic look. It's okay to kind of crush these shadowy areas. Well, I know that I was color grading in Adobe Premiere Pro. Please don't hold that against me. But that's kind of a little bit a quick look at kind of my workflow and how I go about color grading in Adobe Premiere Pro with V-Log, and how you can get these different looks, and how V-Log is very, very versatile, and you have some really good dynamic range with V-Log on the Lumix cameras, especially the S5ii, which I think is like 14 stops of dynamic range, somewhere in there. 13, 14 stops of dynamic range. Let me know down in the comments if you actually know what the dynamic range is on the S5ii. But that's kind of what I got for this. So hopefully this video, you know, is just a kind of a quick helpful look on how to color grade V-Log footage. If you have any questions, let me know down in the comments. And if you want to see how I set up my S5ii for cinematic video shooting, make sure you check out this video that's popping up on the screen right here.